Just want to start off, I don't know if you guys saw that Gil Brandt passed, so our condolences go out to Gil's family. I lived in Dallas for 11 years, and he was often at pro days, or I'd see him at the combine. And somebody in my position that I looked up to and was a mentor for me. Enjoyed a lot of long drives on the road when I was out scouting, listening to him on the radio. So definitely a sad day for me. He was somebody I definitely looked up to. As for the last month, it's been an exciting month. Pro department, Chris Rossetti leading that group up, did a phenomenal job, combing through the league, trying to identify players that may, help us, whether it was via claim, trade, or down the road, practice squad, workouts, whatever it may be. So hats off to those guys. And, with that being said, I'll open up to you guys for questions.
Joe, when you look at personnel and you weigh the pros and cons of trading away future assets versus continuing to develop guys that you already have and might be thinking of replacing, how do you kind of balance the decision whether to, pull the trigger, so to speak, or to stick with what you got?
Yeah, a lot of times, again, we go through a process, whether it's contracts, trades, what's the value of the player, risk versus reward. And, it's a collaborative process. You get the coaching staff involved and Dabes and, what's the fit for a player, what will the utilization be, the evaluation from the scouts, and then, what the value is. And if it makes sense, then, we're always going to be aggressive if we need to be and make a move. And we were comfortable with the ones that we made.
What was the thought process with Isaiah, given that we just said Simmons?
Yeah, same deal. Like, talk to Wink. He's got a vision for the player. He's a young guy, just turned 25. Size, length, athleticism, and versatility. So for the compensation, we thought it made sense, and we're excited to see what he does this year.
Joe, given what you guys accomplished last year, what are your expectations for this season?
Yeah, we're just gonna each day we're gonna try to get better. Again, the thing is progress. We're going to focus on our process. And, I think if we do what we did last year in terms of practicing the right way, coming in, being pros, again, we'll see what happens. I'm not going to say, we're going to do X, Y, and Z, but I think if we focus on our process, we'll see results.
Joe, obviously,
how much did the decision to make those trades, how much did, sitting 26th in the waiver order, impact you being aggressive?
Yeah, we thought about that. I mean, that's a good question with Boogie. That came into effect. Hey, where we're sitting, will somebody be there? That we like. There's some unknowns. Certain guys may get cut. Maybe they're a little bit more expensive. So we take that all into account.
Joe, obviously, at the end of last year, you said you were hoping to close the talent gap with Dallas and with Philly. I know you haven't played any games yet, but when you look at this roster, do you feel that you've gotten a little bit closer to that?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. We haven't played a game yet, so we'll see. Again, we're going to continue to prepare for Dallas and get ready for the season. And I think I said it last year at the same press conference is, it takes a few weeks into the regular season to figure out who the team is. Again, how we're going to react when adversity strikes, and how we're going to handle if there's success or if you're down at halftime. And I think that showed last year against Tennessee in the second half. I didn't know how the team was going to react coming out of halftime, or if you're playing Green Bay in London and you're down, the second quarter 17-3. So, we still have a lot to learn about this team, and we'll see when it comes to Sunday against the Cowboys, how they're going to come together as a team and gel, and how they're going to react in those situations.
Roster-wise, at this point, though, where do you see a better version of what you had last year?
Again, we'll see. Again, I like some of the guys that we brought in free agency. I like some of the guys that we drafted, but they still got to go out there and do it on Sundays.
Do you think you've assembled a team that can challenge to win the NFC East?
Again, we'll see. Our guys didn't play a lot in the preseason. They played that Carolina game as a unit. We're still practicing and getting better daily, and we'll see what it looks like when we get to the regular season.
What did you see in that? Daniel played that one possession in the Carolina game. Just being able to see that unit in that one possession.
Scored a touchdown. That was good. Yeah, so I like the way we executed. We were in and out of the huddle, played fast, and obviously you always want to score every drive with a kick. So we accomplished that.
Also, if I may, how has Waller measured up to what you either hoped or expected?
He's done a good job. I know we've talked about him quite a bit this summer, but he's come in, he's learned our system. I think we've had good communication as to some of the stuff that he likes to do or has done, and introduced him some of the stuff that we think he could do well to help us. Again, he's done a nice job since he's been here.
So what have you seen from the quarterback so far in year two?
I would say it's natural to be more comfortable. You know, you've executed the plays multiple times, whether it's throughout last season, this off season, and another training camp. So just some of the guys that return, you know, Isaiah, you know, having, you know, Slayton back. There's some familiar weapons throughout the spring. So again, just being more comfortable in the system, I would say.
Joe, Boogie talked yesterday about you being the reason, or feeling like you were the reason he was in Buffalo. Can you just talk about scouting Boogie and your relationship with him?
Yeah, and those decisions are never on one person. I'll just say that when, you know, you're drafting, you know, typically those first 3 rounds, especially, those are organizational decisions, coaching staff, you know, personnel department. So, young man, we're excited to get. Again, he was a 2nd-round pick. He's been in the league for 2 years. He still has 2 years left on his contract at a reasonable price, and you know, we think he's got a lot of upside. He's got to come in here. He's got to learn the playbook, and you know, it's a different system than what he played in Buffalo. So again, he's been here 1 day, and we're looking forward to working with him.
Joe, what do you think of your offensive line, and how do you feel those 3 guards who rotated played?
Yeah, we'll see again when we get to Sunday against the Cowboys. But you know, we won a lot of games with those players, minus the, you know, JMS. It's his first year here, but won 9 games in a playoff game with that group. So you know, we'll see how it plans out.
What do you think of John Michael?
John Michael, he's done a good job. You know, came in mature. He's worked hard. He's got some leadership about him. He's had a good camp, and again, he gets challenged more than anybody on a daily basis, having to line up across from Dexter Lawrence. But I'm happy with what we've seen so far.
Given the you know, Daniel's increased comfort level, the pieces you added and brought back in terms of the weapons around him, and the fact that you guys were not an explosive big play offense in the passing game last year, do you think by all rights this should be a much more explosive big play offensive team in terms of passing games?
Yeah, kind of the same. We'll see. Again, you know, I think Dave's and his staff, I've got a lot of confidence in them, and it's about the guys coming together and gelling and, you know, and executing when it matters. So that's what I'm most excited to see when we get out there, you know, versus the Cowboys, see how we can, you know, again, it's guys have to execute and come together and gel as a group, and we're still working on that.
Joe, when you guys both came here, you talked about alignment right off the bat, you and Dave's together. Listening to guys in other departments this summer, from Brandon, you know, you mentioned Rossetti, and then all the assistant coaches have talked about how it's just been a trickle-down effect, the idea that you guys are aligned really from top to bottom legitimately. How has that helped your process, or at least did you expect your process to manifest itself the way it has, really all the way down to, you know, the players you're bringing in?
Yeah, I would just say really good communication. You know, it starts there between Dave's and myself, or his staff and my staff. And from last year when we got here, they did a very good job of defining what they want at each position, which makes our job easier when we're going to, you know, to look for players. So I think it starts with communication. And year 2, everybody's on the same page. We've been through a season, and you know, again, hey, if you need something as a coaching staff, come to us and we'll go try to find it, or vice versa. And you know, again, I think that's the biggest thing, is that there is alignment amongst the coaching staff and the scouting department. And you know, again, I think year 2, you know, definitely went much smoother than.
You know, I asked Dave's about, you know, empowering the assistant coaches. I would imagine from your perspective, you know, you feel like you've empowered your staff, both scouting, personnel-wise. How has that come together in year 2 for you? You know, from the general manager's seat, you were always, you know, one of those guys who wanted to be empowered.
Yeah.
I would imagine it was important for you to do that.
Yeah, I think year 1, you know, it's very time-consuming implementing your process and making sure everything's being done the way you want it to be done. I don't want to say you have to micromanage, but you have to, every step of the process. Like last year at this time, it was our first training camp. Now we're going into our first cut down, and there's a lot of time implementing your processes. In year 2, I would say it was a well-oiled machine. You know, people knew expectations, they knew their job responsibilities, they knew the process. So it was much smoother, which, you know, freed me up to do some other things that, you know, maybe got bogged down with last year. So, you know, I would say that was the biggest difference.
Joe, you negotiated some contracts mid-season last year. Is that a process you're going to continue, or is that something you reconsider?
Yeah, I won't say we won't do it, but we have nothing, you know, on the docket right now.
Given where it was a month ago, are you pleased with how Saquon's camp went, how he came in, how he practiced, and just where that all stands?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's had a really good camp. He came in shape, voted a captain. You know, his leadership stood out from day 1. I'm really happy where he is right now.
You had further thoughts about like adjusting contracts? I know obviously Darnay's, you freed up cap space doing that. Anything coming you think on that front?
Yeah, once we come up for air here, like maybe early next week or something, we'll kind of circle up on that and see where we are salary cap wise, short term, long term, and kind of come up with a plan there.
Look to you like Leonard will go in with his existing deal.
Yes. Yep.
Joe, with Isaiah, was that somebody you had on your radar for a while, or was that something that kind of developed with you and Monty within the last few weeks? How did that kind of play out?
Yeah, so this time of year, just to walk you through the process, we divvy up teams, we make calls. I've known Monty for a long time. Their assistant GM, Dave Sears, I've known for a long time. So just shooting texts back and forth, anybody available, where are you deep, where you may be looking. And through those conversations, Isaiah's, name came up and it came together, rather quickly. And again, he just turned 25. I think I was looking at it earlier this morning. Again, as the dust settles a little bit, stepping back and look at the roster, I think we have 39 players that are 26 years old or younger, which as of today is second in the league. So, I think, adding him, Boogie, I think is 25. So again, kind of a young nucleus core guys, again, I think between the youth and some of the veterans that we have, it's a good mix, and, he fit into that.
For both of you on Isaiah, if I may, coming from whatever issues there were in Arizona, were you confident, Joe, that there wouldn't be issues, similar here? And Daves, I'm curious if you have a handle, I'm sure you have a handle, on the locker room and how he's fitting in.
He's fitting in good. Yeah. I mean, he knew Dex, he knew Saquon from working out, Isaiah Hodgins, so there's some relationships that he's had, and he's fit in well with really everybody on the team, not just the defensive guys, but the offensive guys too.
Yeah, and Paris Campbell was out there too. So several of our guys had worked with him all summer. Dexter played with him. When there's turnover of staffs, the previous staff, what did you guys think of him? How was he there? So we're always going to do a lot of research, when you make a move or draft or, whatever it may be, part of the process. And he's come in and he's fit in well.
Joe, what was the thought process in cutting Corbin? It seemed like he had a pretty good camp at running back.
Yeah, just it was a competition, and we kept the four that we kept. And again, it's try to get him on the practice squad. It's his choice to go somewhere else. But when you cut a player, 31 teams have 31 other teams have an opportunity to claim him, and it happened last year and he stayed on the practice squad. It happened again this year and nobody claimed him, so it's his right to look elsewhere, and that's what he decided to do.
Joey, this is your first time, obviously, as a general manager.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking around.
Sorry, I was looking for something.
You're sharing a city with another team, right? This is your first kind of experience with that. How much do you feel that? Obviously, the Jets are.
They were here last year.
What?
They were here last year. It's not my first time sharing them.
I meant as a general manager, in general. How much do you feel that you kind of share that city? That they're, even though they're not in your division, that fans, people around like to compare the two and play them this year. You play them every year in the preseason. Yeah.
We're just focused on us. I mean, that's all we can do. We got control. We can control, and it's us coming in here every day to work and trying to get better as a team. And if we control our business and take care of our business, hopefully we'll see positive results. But I respect those guys over there. But we're just going to focus on what we can control.
Joe, do you think Wandale will be ready to play week one?
He's only been out there for a week, so we'll wait and see. It's too early to tell.
The two first rounders last year, Kayvon and Evan, how do you feel like they've come in year two?
Good. Yeah, good.
What impressed you about the way Trey Hawkins kind of came in throughout the summer and got
Trey's done a good job. He came in. He's worked hard. He's he's a professional approach. And what Dave says, these guys earn the reps that they get, and he's done that.
Joe, if I actually, for both of you, if I may, just to circle back on something I asked earlier, progress is never linear. So that being said, I know you said you want to get better a little bit each day. Knowing that progress isn't linear, what kind of litmus test are you looking for to say, yeah, we're definitely ahead of where we were last year, we're still on the same path, we're on the right path?
Yeah, again, we'll see how it's too early to tell. Again, we got to get these guys out there and see how they click together. Again, we brought in some new pieces, Waller, on defense, Bobby, some of the defensive linemen that are depth players, 2 young corners. So again, we'll see how this group comes together. And again, it's still early. We haven't played any games, and that'll be probably a better answer later in the year once we see how these guys, react.
Is Sweeney's injury something that might threaten his football career?
Yeah, once we have more information on that, we'll let you know. But right now, our doctors are working through it. I don't have an answer for you.
Brian, any thoughts on how your team worked this camp and heading into the year, about the feeling you have about this unit?
Yeah, I think they had a productive camp. I think we got better from where we started. But again, until you start playing in regular season games and adversity strikes and how you respond to things, there's a lot of things, you can't really take it from one year to the next year because it's a different team. 30% of the guys are different. Different things are going to happen. You're playing different opponents. How you react to certain things. You really got to learn your team as you go in the regular season, and you just don't pick up where you left off last year or preseason game. It's a challenge every season in the NFL. At least it's been in the 23 years I've been, in the NFL. It's always different. It's never the same. There's a lot of challenges every year, and you're going to go through them. And how you react to them and focus and stay locked in on your targets, that's really important. And then ultimately you got to go out there and play well and coach well. And that doesn't guarantee anything. So, we're just grinding along here. Guys have worked hard, and they'll get a couple days here off, and then we'll get going here on Dallas.
Joe, have you changed college area scouting kind of approach? I think you had 7 last year. You have 5 this year. Have you divvy that up differently or just approach it differently?
No, we might have been a little bit heavy. So we moved some things around based on exposure. If, guys don't have enough work, we thought we could move some things around. So, yeah.
Joe,
Some people would say that off the success you guys had last year that you might be, quote unquote, ahead of schedule. As you built this team, did last year maybe change the plan or impact, what you decided to do with this roster?
We had more flexibility we had more resources available to us, if that makes sense. Financially we were in a better shape where we could, either extend our own or sign outside the building. So I wouldn't say the plan changed. We just had, more resources to, add talent.
How important is beating the Cowboys and or the Eagles in order to measure your success? Obviously, those are the 2 teams in your division. They were above you last year. They're sort of like the standard in division the last couple of years.
Yeah, I would just say every week is important. Every team we play, we're going to want to win those games. So whether it's Dallas, Philadelphia, whoever it is, each game is equally important.
With Xavier McKinney, kind of going off what you said in the radio a couple weeks ago, why would you prefer to wait until after the season?
I'm sorry, say that again.
With Xavier McKinney, you kind of going off what you said on the radio about in-season negotiations versus after the season for him. Why would you prefer to wait until after the season?
Yeah, I'll keep that between X and I. We had a conversation. I'll keep that between us.
Is that accurate? You're going to wait till after the season?
Yeah.
Okay, there's no, you're not going to do it. I know you left the door open earlier for maybe doing it in season with some guys, but not for him.
Unless something changes. I don't want to say, I'll never say never, but as of right now, that's the plan.
Take a couple more. You really view those division games as no more important?
No more important? They're all important.
Not more important than the others?
They're all important. We were 1-4-1 in the division last year. We made the playoffs. They're all important.
Anything else?
You were asked about Trey Hopkins. I guess, what have you seen from those 2 rookie corners and being asked to do starting corners with Adoree inside?
Yeah, I think Dave's approach and the coaching staff is there's going to be competition and you earn your reps, and regardless where you were drafted, how much money you're making. I think that was on display last year, and no different than these guys. Regardless of where they were drafted, they earn their reps. They earn the opportunity.
Okay.
How important is the process of continuing to find success? How important is it to have guys who you consider cornerstones? The contracts you gave out this offseason, you want to give them to the right people, obviously, but also premium positions, knowing when you're trying to build the roster week to week, that you have those guys there. Andrew, Dex, and Daniel, obviously a quarterback. I would imagine when you're not searching for those spots, you can kind of move on to other areas.
Yeah, and you can supplement it, whether it's, again, that's going to eat up some of your cap down the road, and maybe they can't get out as big of contracts, but you're supplementing now with other positions, another draft in 2024, now you've got those core pieces in place, you continue to supplement and, hopefully trend upward. That's the idea.
All right. Dave's how's Paris Campbell didn't see him yesterday.
We're giving him a vet day. He'll be fine. We're gonna give him a vet day again today, so he'll be just taking care of his body, but he'll be fine.
Anything else of note?
Same as yesterday. Yeah, really the same as yesterday. Nothing else. Nothing new.
And Joe, real quick on that, the injured guys, you don't plan on putting any of them on injured reserve to start the season. You kind of everyone you view as going to be part of the 53
Today. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen out there, but yeah, as of today, that's how we'll move forward.
By today, ignoring a setback. Kind of.
Yeah,